All right, guys, today we got a 2019 F150 with a 5-liter in it. It's got a cylinder 4 misfire. The client put a coil in it and a spark plug in it. Still skipping. Let's get into it. Well, we have spent about 15 minutes on this car and got to where we were about to do some hookups outside, which we're gonna get there. And then we realized that our mics were not working. So there was zero sound. I know I'm about to get some comments down there. You need to have a backup mic source. We're not that high tech, guys. So it's okay. We're going to kind of start over. I'm going to run you back through this really fast. The car got 87,000 miles on it. I don't know where this went out, so we're just kind of going to start from here. Truck's got 87,000 miles on it. It's got a dead misfire. If I start this thing up, it's going to be crazy loud. Okay. And if I put it in gear, it is just a dead skip, right? So the first thing I did was I jumped onto, go ahead and start this screen recording here. I jumped onto our power balance and just wanted to verify that it is cylinder 4 that's misfiring. And there we go. You can see it is cylinder 4. I verified that it is identifying the correct cylinder. Real quick, let me show you how I did that. I just came out, and I don't know how loud this mic's going to be. These are our backup mics, but I just disconnected cylinder 1 coil. So we'll just kind of shoot this while we're doing this. None of this is hooked up yet. You'll see where we're going on that. So all I did was came in here, unhooked that coil, and we can see on the scanner that it did go to number 1. So, hurt my back. So that's just kind of a quick way that I do it, because I have been bitten where it thinks it's cylinder, one cylinder and it'll be another one. Now, some people will comment, and rightfully so. That doesn't mean that it's 100% right. That means that it can pick up cylinder 1 and we know that's correct. If there's something really weird with the crankshaft position sensor or tone ring or something, it can. There's other ways of doing it, but for right now, I think we're good. We're going to continue on, and we're going to get to that cylinder in a minute anyway. The next thing that I did, the next thing that I did was I went in and did a relative compression test, just to be sure. Hopefully, I don't know if I mentioned it yet on this or not. We're going to have to get to this point. The client put his own coil and his own spark plug in here, and it didn't change the problem. So let's go and do a relative compression test, because we don't want to get bit by that. So I've just got my foot on the gas, and then extremely long 10-second countdown there. And then if we go through, last time on cylinder 4 we had a 2% difference. This time we have zeros across the board, and I wasn't worried about 2% anyway. That's a minuscule amount. So all right, from there we jumped on all data, and I kind of walked through how to get to cylinder identification. I just thought maybe that would be helpful. So let me go ahead and get my pen and get back to that. Let's get back to that point, just because I know some people just want to see that. Hey guys, we're on the road to 200K. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button now. Go ahead down there and hit it. You're not doing anything else. You're just watching me. Hit that button for me. When we get to 200K, we're going to do a little giveaway. Drop some comments down below. Let us know what you want us to give away. Let's get back to the video. I put the vehicle VIN number in. I'm going down here to maintenance. And there's other ways to get here, but this is just the fastest way that I found. Go to maintenance. Go to tune-up and engine performance checks down here towards the bottom. And then a lot of times you'll see that cylinder identification, number 1, cylinder. And there's our engine, the cylinder identifications, and we can see that cylinder number 4 is going to be on the passenger side all the way back towards the firewall. Super fun. So it's okay. All right, so that's that. And then I had to find the firing order, which is a little bit weird. It was kind of hidden. I went to ignition system. I kind of just, didn't go to the back button. I went to ignition system here. And now I'm trying to remember how I got to it. Oh, yes, that's right. I did a firing order up here in the search bar. That's what I did, which I don't do very often. I came up here and did that. The reason I don't remember doing that is because I very rarely use the search bar. So let's go ahead.
Opposite of me.
Opposite of Sherwood, 100%. He always uses the search bar. So, and I don't know why this keyboard does this. All right, I went to engine specifications, and then I had to scroll and found it right there. Right, so not that I needed the firing order that much, but that's where we kind of ended up, just so we could see what it was. And then I'm going to get the scope on cylinder 4. I want to get it on a couple components on cylinder 4. So let me get that hooked up and we'll come right back. Here's what we've got hooked up. I've got the ignition coil for number 4 connected on our yellow and red. I have our port fuel injector on our cylinder number 4 with green and blue. I have our port fuel injector on cylinder 3 with purple and white. And I have our ignition coil on cylinder 3 with brown and orange. Now, this has 2 fuel systems on it. It's got a port fuel system and it's got a GDI fuel system. I went in, I looked at the description and operation for this system because I want to know what injector's on when. The port fuel injectors are, well, actually, let's jump on here and I'll show you. The port fuel injection, right, says during heavy acceleration or higher end loads, the direct fuel injection system is used to deliver fuel to the engine. During idle or low engine loads, the port fuel injection system delivers fuel to the engine. So we can see that, whoops, right here. During low, right? And that's what we're having right now, is it is doing it at idle. So we're going to focus on the port fuel injection right now. We've got the scope connected. We're on our battery ground at the scope, of course, and we have our maintainer on the battery, just so that, anytime you guys are doing work with these things, that we always say put a maintainer on it. So I'm going to, and again, okay, gotta get my mind right to trying to be more thorough and telling you guys everything that is going through my head and why we do things and try to head off questions. So you guys leave some great questions down there. Keep doing it because it helps me to think more as I'm doing these videos. These are 2-wire coils. So we have a power and then we have a ground, basically, where it's being activated. Generally, we're going to get I'm not going to say always because I don't know. There could be a situation where you're not. But generally, I'm going to be able to get a primary ignition signal on one of those wires. So I'm going to get the actual primary ignition waveform on one of those wires. If you are using a pico scope, I'm pretty sure an Autel. I'm not sure about Top Don. I'll find out. We're going to be doing some training on those later. You have to use a attenuator, or you will damage your scope. With the ATS scope, we don't have to worry about that. This is just dedicated. This is an automotive scope. So the way they built it is we can hook it up to anything on this car and we're not going to damage the scope. But if you're using one of those other scopes, you're going to need to use an attenuator, connect that to your scope so that you can lower the signal down so it doesn't damage anything with the scope. All right, that's that. All right. Now, let's get this thing. I want to go ahead, go into deep record. We can see, because we have all of the reds are off, right? As far as, these boxes will turn red if you have it. Here, I'll do one right here real fast. I'll take the white lead and break the connection, and you'll see that how that box turns red. All right, so we know that all of these circuits are connected. So this is the kind of the screen that I go to for that. Let's go to the measure and deep record. because I want to get this when this thing starts, because I want to see if the injector's firing and then the injector shuts off. Whoops, you know what? I want to get them all. So let me turn all the channels on. All right, I got that. Let me go ahead and start it. I don't need it to run long. I'm going to cycle the key. I'm going to go ahead and put it in gear. I should have enough data there to at least get some kind of a decision. All right, let's get into this and see what we got. First thing I want to do, zoom in. I really should have. I've got the red and yellow on the questionable. Red, yellow, blue, green on the questionable. Let's see if we can find any of that. So let's go ahead. Here's the yellow. Well, look at the yellow. Yellow's doing nothing. And the red's doing, well, no, the red is doing something. Hang on. Yep, okay, good. So we see the red. All right, so that's our ignition coil. Let's turn off the injectors real fast on the scope. So that's going to be our green, blue, purple, white. Let's turn off green, blue, and purple and white. All right, so this is just our suspect cylinder here and our ignition. So this is 2 ignition coils. This is our number 3 ignition coil and our number 4 ignition coil. Number 3 ignition coil is our orange and brown. And let's go ahead and take a look and see what we got. We should have ignition waveforms here. Let's just look at a good one. And we do. So there is a good ignition waveform. It's a multi-strike because it's a forward. That's why we see 2 strikes on this thing. So let's go ahead and scroll over. Oops. And there's our suspect one. We won't just jump on one of them and see. Let's see what we got here. All right. Let's go. That's nasty looking. All right, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so I can get them both on the screen at the same time. Let me do this. Zoom out and then zoom in like that. There we go. All right, now I can pan and get 2 at the same time. That, whoa, 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 whoa. What just happened there? It's almost like the timing of it got different. Let's go back out. Let's go back over here. Did it? Or is that just me? That's just me. Okay. I was looking at that gap. All right. Disregard that. I'm just looking for something that's going to stick out to me right here. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and turn the injectors on. So our blue is going to be the cylinder number 4. The purple is going to be cylinder number 3. That's where I turned it off. Zoom out to full. All right. It's coming over here. So you can almost see here where this thing keyed on, and you see how the injectors, this is just kind of fun information to know. You see how we fired the coils, and then we fired an injector and we kept firing the coils. So just something interesting to look at there. All right, so I want to zoom in again. Let's see. All right, now we can get a clear view. All right, let's see. Do we see anything obvious with the injectors? I definitely see something. Look at that. Those coils look kind of, they both look bad there. They both look just, not to say bad, they both look unusual. So far, I'm not seeing anything that's sticking out at me on the injectors. I'm kind of looking at the injectors right now, not the... Matter of fact, let's turn these two off so we don't get distracted. Again, blue is our questionable one. And this thing was dead skipping. So something should just pop right out at us, I would think. All right, I want to do something else here. I just want to blow up right here at the bottom of these. And then I just want to get the cursors, and I just want to look and see if these are similar to each other. Now this is going to be, when we look at this on the bottom of these injectors on this scope, because of the resolution on this scope, we can look down here and this would mimic, if I had an amp clamp on it, this would be what the amp clamp would show us. The amp clamp would show us a rising like this, okay? So this is a way for us to kind of look at that. Can compare these two injectors, one known good and one that we don't know, and just see, we can see there's a little bit of height difference right here, right there, little bit. But let's look through this and see if we see if that's consistent or not. Yeah, we're not really, it's pretty, and it's kind of consistently a little higher, but I don't know that that's enough to create our issue right here. That's higher for sure. I'm gonna blow this up just a little bit more here. We're gonna really zoom in here. All right, this is gonna take me just a second to scroll this over. So I gotta get to the other injector. There we go. Interesting. All right. Let's go ahead and turn these ignition back on. We got to be missing something, guys. I mean, it's a dead skip. So zoom out to full. Then we're going to zoom in again. I want to get All right, let's see if we can find something with these. We're blown way in on those now. That's the injector. Not really. Nothing is really popping out at me right now. Wait a minute here. No, I'm really not seeing it. All right, let's do this. So if we're going to look at these injectors, let's zoom out to full again. Not getting a good picture there. All right. We can come in. Let's look at these two injectors again. And here's what I want to look at now. I want to see if we can see the hump. So when we open an injector, it moves the pintle. And there we go. Look at here. Here we go. Now we might be seeing something. Look right here. See that? See that bump right there? I'm going to try to do this without laying on the screen here. See how this thing comes down and then kind of has a little bump right here and then comes out? That is indicative of the pintle actually opening. So the injector physically opening. We know it's got electrical to it, but did it physically open? And that's a good indicator of that. So now let's pan over and get that blue one back on the screen. Because it's firing this injector. It didn't turn the injector off. We don't see a hump in that one. There's no hump there. That's really interesting. You do not, I don't see this very often. Okay. Is this consistent? There's the hump. We can see it. Pretty clear. I'm going to zoom in even more on this. Get it even better. You can definitely see this bump right there. We got this thing set to fast capture. I'm going to capture every single bit of data that we possibly can. It will overload if I put too much time on there. I've got 15, because this thing is going to just be running. The scope speed is going to be running just as fast as it possibly can. Because of the tablet that I have, I can run it. I'm running 15 seconds. We normally would keep that at 5 seconds, which usually is plenty of time. But I got it at 15 seconds, so I already had the fast capture running. So we're going to start it up. I'm going to get in here and ready to go. All right. And that should... All right, cool. All right. Let's zoom in on this. Let's see what we get. I'm just grabbing a couple of injectors here. And we're going to turn off the red and the brown. I don't care. I just want to look at these other ones real fast. See if we see anything. I don't see a hump on that one. You can clearly see the hump on that. Wow. Now, you know what? I want to try something else now. This thing does not... Guys, I don't think this injector is opening. I think electrically, it looks good. If you just looked at that waveform and said, hey, the injector's got power and ground, it's working. I don't think it's physically opening. And which, you know what? Let's look at one other thing real quick here. I'm going to go pan over and I want to look. You can clearly see the hump on the other one. And what I'm not seeing is I'm really not seeing a lean. It doesn't look lean on the... Well, you know what? We're sitting there at idle. It's not going to look lean at idle. I've got to rev it up to get it to look lean. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to save this one. I'm excited here. Cylinder 4, misfire. That injector. Yeah, I know what I want to do. All right, I'm about to bump this way up. 20 seconds worth. Here we go. We're going to see if we see a lean condition in the ignition waveform. This is not turning the injector off. If it was turning the injector off, we would not see any electrical, it wouldn't be electrically open. You can see it, you can see a good ignition injector waveform on the scope. If it turns it off, it's just going to be flatlined. So what I'm going to do now, get it to run. Should bring this scope in there with me. But oh yeah, we got some data now. Let's see what this looks like. This may look like a mess, or it may look good. We're gonna find out. We're just gonna kind of blow all this up. Let's blow up into this. Again, don't see a hump. There's our brown one. Not worried about. Okay, well, let's look at that one. See how the multi-strike went away? You see how now it doesn't, because we're revved up. So there's not the, before we saw, a couple of different spikes that did this, right? And then, that's because at idle it was at multi-strike. Ford does that. We're off idle now. We've revved it up, so it's not multi-striking. You can 100%, guys, look at that hump. You can see it opening. All right, now let's look at the. See if we see cylinder 5. We definitely, now we're seeing, because we revved it up, look at that arc of that. So we run, basically this is, when you see this upward arc like that, we are running lean. So let's go ahead, do that. Well, this is really one that you don't see much. I don't. One injector doing this. No hump. Beautiful pattern there. Look at that. That's a good cylinder, right? Nice, beautiful long line, firing line. That's actually, or burn line. That's really good. All right, let's see here. Go off of that. That's the purple one with the hump every time. And oh my goodness, look at that. Shoom. That's lean, lean, lean. That thing's not getting any fuel. That thing's not getting any fuel. That injector's no good. That injector is physically stuck. Got an idea. We're gonna do one more test. We're gonna do one more test. Well, Sherwood said behind the camera for fun.
Because I'm ready to order the injector.
He's ready to get an injector here. Yes, we're going to do it because. Is it for fun? Yeah, it's for fun. I'm gonna do something I haven't done before. So we're gonna hook something up here. But if we do that, and if we make the time to do that, now we're working on this vehicle. We're trying to make money. We're doing flat rate. We're rocking and rolling on this thing. Diagon. The injector's bad. I put an injector in it. I got everything to it that I need to get to it. It's getting into the injector. It's actually doing. It's just not opening the pintle, right? So the only thing that I would need to be worried about is that is at the very end of the fuel rail. I'm going to try to get my finger in where you can see it. So this is all the way at the end. So it is the last injector. So if there was some trash or some, something that bound it up, but it's not physically open. So it's not like there's trash in the screen blocking it. It would still open the pintle then, just no fuel would go through. So we'd see the hump, but then we would see the big, tail up on the ignition waveform. This one, we're not seeing the hump and we're seeing the tail up. So it's possible maybe some debris down in there maybe and jam that thing up, but I'm going to, let me get something hooked up and I'm going to show you what we're playing doing. So my playing did not work. What I wanted to do was, I know that we would hear something with that. And I wanted to get some sensors on the injectors and actually watch them so we can get some sound sensors, connect them to the scope and see if we could see, we could watch the injector open, right? And then we should be able to hear it click or see it click on the scope. Unfortunately, where these injectors are located, they're in a tight spot, and I can't get the sound, the sensors on the injector right. I tried it in a couple of different spots on it. It just wasn't working good. So unfortunately, my playing around didn't work there. But I do want to show you this because I know we're going to get comments on this. I want to show you how these ohm out because I see a lot of people say, well, I could just ohm them out and know they're good, they're bad or good. So we know that number 4 injector is no good. I will tell you without question, electrically, that injector is functioning. I saw it on the scope. You guys saw it on the scope. Those of you that use scopes know, yeah, that injector was working electrically, it's fine. But I want to prove to you that when we ohm these things out, that these injectors are going to ohm out correctly. Now, and this is kind of one of those things where I went in here already because I want to be sure I could get to the daggone thing. So there's the meter. I'm going to get to I'm on number 3 first because I want to show you what it's going to look like. 3 is a little easier to get to, but all right, 13.5 ohms. We got that? I can barely see it. You see it? All right. Now the back one is quite a bit more difficult to get in on. But there it is. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
What is it at?
13.4.
There you go. Same resistance. Harder to do physically, especially, for me it is anyway, and a worthless test because the injector is electrically fine. I will tell you, you're never going to find this without a scope. So we're going to call the client, get authorization for an injector, and then we're going to get an injector in here. We're going to put it in here, and then we're actually going to, I'll get the scope. I won't need to get the scope back on the coils, but I'll just get the scope back on the injectors, and we're going to see that pintle open on all these things. So let's get authorization and let's get an injector in here. Got the injector out. I want to go ahead and do this on the bench. We do have the new injector. Got a Motorcraft injector for it. So let's go ahead. We already checked this in the car, but it has cooled off now. So we'll check it again. All right, so we're at 12 ohms resistance there. Let's go ahead and pop the new one out. A little fresh one there. That light is shining right on my face from that floor. That floor is shiny. All right, let's get this in there. $12.3. So you can see that, again, just like I said yesterday, or for you guys a few minutes ago, that checking this electrically wasn't going to help you. I wish we could have got the sound on it. But let me get this new one in because we are going to hook the scope back up to it. Let's get it back in there. Injector's in it. Keys on. Have not started it yet. Got the scanner hooked up. Going into special functions. Going into power balance again. Okay. We're going to... It's kicking me out because I don't have it started yet. It is going to be a cold start, so... So loud. And look at there. We're jumping all over the place. Cold start, but cylinder 4 not misfiring. All right, let's keep that going. I do have the scope hooked up on it, so let's jump on that. All right, there we are. Let's go ahead. We're letting this thing warm up. Hopefully it's not too loud behind me. Let's go ahead and blow this up now. The yellow is going to be our... I just stuck the pros back in there. I didn't try to match them when they were yesterday, but the yellow is going to be our cylinder 4. Blue is going to be our cylinder 3. There's our hump. Nice, nice, nice. Let's go ahead and jump. Scroll over here. And bring up the other one. We know this one's going to be good. There it is. Look at that, another one of those. Look at another one of those. Yeah, we've got a nice hump. So cylinder 4, we can 100% see this thing is fixed now. Car's running smooth. We don't have any misfires on anything. And actually, let's jump back on the, I know Sherwood's going to hate me for doing this, because I've got to go back and forth now to the scanner, but let's go back on the scanner. I just cleared out all the shadows, just so you could see all that harshness from when it first started up. The idle's starting to come down. So this thing is, this thing's good. So I'm going to shut this thing off. Let's recap. All right, guys, that's the power of a scope again. So there's really no way that this vehicle could have ever been diagnosed and know that it's going to be fixed without a scope. You get used to looking at that. Look for those little humps. It's those little things that you see in there that really leads you down a very quick, efficient path to get to the answer. So this one turned out really, really good. We're going to get it buttoned up, get everything off of it, clear the codes, go take it for a test drive. She's going to be good to go. Hope you guys liked it. If you did, you know what to do. Thumbs up, subscribe, hit that subscribe button. Do that for me. And then leave a comment down below and hit that bell notification too. Appreciate you watching. See you in the next one.